Good afternoon. Let me start by saying that while no case of COVID-19 has been confirmed in Richland County as of yet, it is vitally important that government leaders take necessary steps to ensure the safety and well-being of all of our citizens that we serve. Therefore, I have signed an emergency disaster declaration in accordance with the South Carolina Richland County Code of Ordinance to initiate specific actions to respond to this emerging threat to our community. Now, why is this important? It's very important because we need to make quick, rapid decisions in the best interest of our citizens. And in doing that, in enacting this ordinance, what it allows us to do to spend less time not having to worry about regulations and procedures that are hampering us from getting the job done. It allows us to better utilize available resources. Those resources oftentimes may require us going through 3 readings on a public hearing, for example, debates and so forth, and there's not time for that at this particular time. It allows us to transfer the direction of personnel and functions in our county without going again through the red tape. There are going to be times for contract acquisitions and so forth, purchase and things of that particular nature. We need a quick, expedient means of doing that. This ordinance allows us to do that. Suspending, activities in our community may be necessary. Non-emergency type activities. This ordinance allows us to do that. I heard already that there may be limited resources in terms of making sure our EMS office operate the way it should. We have to change some council rules to get things done in an expedient way. We want to do that. This ordinance allows us to do that. So therefore, again, I'm signing this ordinance today. It's effective today to deal with this emerging threat. I'm joined today by my Vice Chairperson, Ms. Delia Myers, Mr. Leonardo, our Sheriff, as well as our County Manager, Mr. Leonardo Brown, who would also be making comments today. Now, we will provide information regarding steps Richland County already has taken and steps will be taken in the future. The coronavirus presents a unique challenge for us in Richland County and across our community. It relates to lives, health, education, mobility, and more. So throughout this crisis, some people still will have to report to work, to take care and work on behalf of the rest of us. Others, like our seniors, are at risk of being cut off from their social networks during the time of social distancing. Students are being pulled away from their educational facilities and institutions. So keep in mind, some services may not be readily available. So the challenge imposed on us by the virus may seem daunting, but they are not insurmountable. That is why we are taking a very integrated, coordinated approach to doing this, and we'll continue to do so. And what I'll ask now is Ms. Myers would come up and talk about some of those unique, integrated, coordinated things that we're doing for our community to make sure our citizens are safe.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Delia Myers, the Vice Chair of the Richland County Council. I am going to speak, as Chair Livingston just told you, to some of the coordinating efforts that we have made and will continue to make with not only Richland County entities, but also state, local, and federal entities. First, let me thank our staff. Because they have been working this whole time behind the scenes to make sure that our COVID-19 response is integrated, fulsome, and aggressive enough to meet the challenge. So thank you for that. And then let me say that where we are today is that this is an aggressive move. It's a necessary move. We are encouraging social distancing. This is likely to be the last time that we will be in a room with more than 10 people. because we understand that the threat is real. It is a serious threat, and we want to be sure that we lead by example in Richland County, and we demonstrate those things that we're asking the citizenry to undertake. So, to that end, I have been working this morning and will continue to work to be sure that we have an integrated response and that the citizens are aware of all of the things that are available to you during this difficult time. First, I'd like to speak to our seniors. We are coordinating with senior resources. We recognize that some of you may be isolated in your homes or may need someone to reach out to you in a more aggressive way. We are coordinating with them now to get an idea of whether there's additional meal service needed and how we can stage that meal service throughout the community. In that connection, we're working with the library, the Richland County Public Library, your library, to see if there might be places that we can provide where there are drive-through windows that you might be able to pick up meals so that you don't, during this difficult time, have a lack of food service. We're also encouraging our students to use the library in the cars with their parents because the Wi-Fi, the hotspots are still on. And fortunately for us, we have a library that is always thinking ahead. And the director of our library, Ms. Melanie Grant, has reached out to expand, not to contract the Wi-Fi service, so that during this time you'll have a stronger signal. If you don't have wireless internet at home and you need a place to do your homework, certainly go and sit in one of those parking lots and use the wireless as you sit in your car. You can also download from the library all kinds of educational and fun-related streaming services, and all of it is free to you during this time. In addition to that, I'd like to note that we are also working with the Recreation Commission to make sure that while the parks are closed, you can go and take a walk. If there's very few people there or there's no one outside, you can go and exercise, which is critically important at this time. Get some fresh air and make sure that we're not cloistering only in a home, but we're also remembering that some activity is critical for our seniors and for the rest of us. In addition, we're working with Prisma to see what we might need to do to stand up medical support to them in some of the remote areas of the county, to be sure that while all of the local municipalities have done an excellent job of working to cover their residents, Richland County has a broader role, and we want to be sure that we've spoken to that broader role. We thank Prisma for being so willing and aggressive about making sure that we're all working together. We've also been in contact with DHEC, and we will continue to provide you with updates and information so that we can stay one step ahead, if at all possible, of what is a very serious pandemic. And the last thing that I'll say is Richland County wants to reach out to help you. Now, obviously, it won't take the same form that it always has, but please know that the Ombudsman's Office, 929-6000, 929-6000, will definitely take your call, and whatever it is that we can do remotely, we will do. So if you have a need that we haven't thought of and it becomes an emergent need during this time, call the Ombudsman's Office, 929-6000, and they'll be available to help you. The last thing I'd like to point out is that the courts have suspended many activities during this time. If you were called up for jury service, you will not be reporting to a room packed full of people for that service. You need to check the court's website, or you need to call the Ombudsman's Office. We'll pass that information along to them so that they can tell you what you can and can't do at the courts right now. But we are encouraging social distancing. We are encouraging people to follow the CDC guidelines. We are encouraging people to be careful and safe and to protect yourselves and others. And with that, I will ask our administrator, Mr. Leonardo Brown, to come and give you some information about the changes that you will see at Richland County if you need to come here, and also what's going on with some of our vulnerable populations, including specifically those at Alvin S. Glenn.
Let me, before Mr. Brown comes up, let me ask and at least recognize one of our council members here, Ms. Yvonne McBride, whom I forgot to recognize early on. And before Mr. Brown come up, let me say to all of y'all how important it is for you to understand the significant role our staff and administrators have played in the past few weeks. It's been an extremely daunting task. They've been busy 24/7 on your behalf, and we want you to join us in thanking them and appreciating them for that. You know, there are just so many moving parts in Richland County government. You know, we have to deal with, we have elected officials, whether, you know, the sheriff, the coroner, all these different individuals have different things that they're doing. We have to connect with voter registration, we have to connect with recreation. All these entities are somewhat, you know, not totally tied to under the jurisdiction of our administrator, but he has to pull all these folks together. So just want to commend him before he come up and speak and let him know how much we appreciate that on his behalf.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of council that are present, and those who may be watching from a distance. Thank you, Sheriff, for being here. Everybody wants to know how Richland County is looking out for their best interest and how these changes will impact their ability to work with Richland County. I'm going to go through a list of departments that will be impacted by today's declaration. These departments will have restricted access to the public, beginning with the idea that any of our employees who are eligible to telecommute to minimize person-to-person contact, we're going to be encouraging that and trying to provide resources to allow for that to happen in order for us to mitigate the potential threat of COVID-19. Related to our utilities, citizens should know that while the department will remain open for service, they will accept payment over the phone, by mail, and by drop box at Richland County Office, 7525 Broad River Road in Irmo, South Carolina. Those are for our utility services. Water and sewer service terminations for non-payment will be suspended until further notice. Again, I repeat, water and sewer service terminations for non-payment will be suspended until further notice. Requests for water to be restored, payment arrangements, and delinquency procedures will be modified. And we're asking, if you have questions about that, to please call 803-576-2094 for utilities-related questions. Our utility staff will continue to operate with enhanced safety protocols to the request of our citizens. Related to our Richland County water and wastewater, customers can be assured that our water is safe to drink and that our standard disinfection and treatment practices are very effective for inactivation and removal of viruses, including COVID-19. Utilities emergency plans have been implemented to ensure the supply of clean, safe, and drinking water and environmental protection through effective management of our wastewater. So all water and wastewater operations will continue, but in-person water and sewer taps sales are suspended. All tap sales should be handled by calling the Department of Engineering at 803-401-0050. Leak repair, restoration, and sewer call responses will continue, but on a prioritized basis. There may be a delayed response to minor issues, and we're going to also ask them to limit their employee-to-employee contact as well as employee-to-public contact. Related to the Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center, there is also limited visitation. There is no contact visitation for inmates. We continue to have video visitation, and the equipment is cleaned after each use. No volunteers are allowed access until further notice. This includes religious services, GED, AA, DA, parental skills, anger management, and reentry. We also screen arrestees for COVID-19 before we accept them into the facility. We have 2 empty housing units available to use in case we have to transfer inmates that may test positive for the virus. And our staff there has been reminded to use universal precautions in order to ensure their safety. Related to our public works, solid waste, and recycling services will run normal schedules at this time. Keeping this service in operation is imperative to ensure clean neighborhoods. To reduce the exposure to citizens, we will postpone education and outreach events. The following essential functions will continue, which include the performance of road maintenance and projects, landscaping, trimming and pruning, signal and street light maintenance, and response to flooding, inspection and correction of hazardous drainage issues, and illicit discharges. Again, public access to the Public Works Department is restricted. The Special Services Division will also limit its exposure, but their staff will focus on clean sweeps. Again, employee-to-employee contact and employee-to-public contact will be limited in accordance with appropriate CDC guidelines regarding social distancing. I do have a few more departments. I know it's quite comprehensive, but again, this was Richland County's effort to make sure that citizens from a comprehensive perspective understood why Richland County was trying to make sure all the information we shared was together. Related to Emergency Services Department, the public may contact the Emergency Services Department for information by emailing esd@richlandcountysc.gov. The Emergency Operations Center is closely monitoring the coronavirus event for potential action. No visitors are allowed at ESD stations. The ESD headquarters and EOC are closed to the public. EMS will only respond to emergency calls. During peak times, response times may be longer. Patients may be required to be transported to the closest hospital. Following CDC guidelines, Richland County EMS has increased sanitation of vehicles and equipment, and there may be a delay in entering homes or businesses until EMS crews have donned the appropriate level of personal protective equipment. A patient or a family member may be asked to talk with an EMS supervisor on the phone to receive additional instructions while the EMS unit is en route to the call. In some cases, only one EMS worker may first approach a patient. As needed, additional EMS workers may be utilized depending on the patient's condition. Again, EMS is not accepting special event requests at this time. There is no special event coverage request being accepted by EMS at this time. Currently, fire marshal inspections are being conducted as scheduled. However, this is subject to change. Additionally, the treasurer, the auditor, and the tax assessor have all communicated that they accept service via online and mail-in and fax. So we're asking you to, again, remotely participate in your county government functions where possible, utilize our online resources to see that your needs are met, or call into the office for assistance. The following Richland County departments and divisions have modified citizen services as well. That includes animal services, community planning and development, economic development, government and community services, information technology, and finance. Some of those modifications are: for Animal Services Department, all inquiries and requests routinely directed to Animal Services, which includes vector control, shall be addressed online, via email and or by phone. Other county staff, citizens, or civic and community partners should refrain from visiting the Animal Services office in person. Animal Care will continue to respond to emergency and high priority calls. High priority emergency calls include law enforcement assistance, injured or stray animals, cruelty and neglect complaints, bite complaints, and dangerous and aggressive dog complaints. Low priority or non-emergent activity is suspended until further notice. This includes non-aggressive stray animal pickup, barking, and nuisance complaints. There will be a drop box placed near the front entrance of the Animal Services Office for pet licensing information. However, citizens are encouraged not to visit the office for this purpose and to instead handle this online via the appropriate link for pet licensing, which is https://etrakit.rcgov.us. Again, /etrackit3/. Again, we will provide this information later in writing, but we want to communicate this information to the public right now. Community planning and development, all inquiries and requests routinely directed to that department, which include the assessor's office, building inspections, business service center, community development, conservation, engineering, new development, planning, and register of deeds and zoning shall be addressed online. Again, we are stressing, please use our online portal. You can email them or you can call them by phone, and they will be taking appointments only. So please do not visit these facilities in person. County staff and the public can access the community planning and development pages on the county's website. And again, the links will be provided later on, but if you go to the county's website, you can look under community planning and development to access that information. We also have the phone numbers for those departments available on the website, and I won't read all of those at this time. Economic development, all inquiries and requests routinely directed to economic development shall be addressed online, via email, and or by phone. Again, other county staff, citizens, and or businesses and civic partners should refrain from visiting the office in person. You can reach them online and via phone. Government and community services, the same applies. Again, utilize our online resources, and we are refraining from asking citizens to come into the office, but rather utilize our online portals or call or email. And last but not least, I want to emphasize that our information technology department is going to receive a lot of requests as we ask them to provide telework, online access, and various other opportunities for the citizens, the employees, and the county as a whole to operate. So any delays related to information technology, we ask for your patience as we support all of our departments who require telecommuting access. Related to our finance department, all inquiries related to finance, we're still asking that citizens stay away from the office, limit your contact to calling the office or using our online access unless you have an appointment scheduled with finance department. So please contact them at the numbers that are online to request an appointment if needed. Last but not least, I want to end by saying, again, we encourage all of our employees who are eligible to telework to begin that process with your departments. And also to citizens, we are asking that you limit your access to the county's facilities by using all of the available online services provided to the county. Also, you may call or fax in addition to emailing. Thank you very much. This is a lot of information. You can expect that Richland County will release this information in print form following this press conference later on this evening. Now I'm going to turn the microphone over to our sheriff, Sheriff Lott. Thank you.
We often hear about the thin blue line, which is law enforcement standing between the citizens and the bad guys. I don't think this is a better time for that thin blue line to be stronger than right now. Our citizens are scared. They're scared of this virus. The last thing they need to be scared about is crime, and we're going to do something about it. All Sheriff's Department facilities that are under my control will be open. The Sheriff's Department will be fully operational. In fact, you're going to see more sheriff's deputies out there than you ever see. The schools have closed. Our school resource officers are available. Our courts are closed, so those deputies are going to be available. Our special deputies, our reserve deputies, everybody that we can is coming in. We're going to work. We're going to make sure that our citizens feel safe. We're not going to allow criminals to take advantage of this situation and crisis that we've got going on in our community. So we're going to do everything we can to make sure that our citizens know and that they feel safe. So we're going to be fully operational. We're going to be answering calls. We're going to be out in high visibility. We're going to have lots of people out. We probably have over 100 extra deputies now that's going to be available that we normally don't have that's in the schools and the court system. Now, my job, I have two responsibilities. First one is to protect the employees and deputies of the Sheriff's Department. The second is to protect the citizens, and we're going to do our job. We're going to make sure that we're safe out here, the criminals are not taking advantage, and we've already seen that. We've already seen some scams against our senior citizens involving this virus. Two messages I want to give out. One's to the citizens, we're there. We're there for you, and we're going to protect you. The second one's to the bad guys, don't try to take advantage, because we're not going to allow it to happen. So the Sheriff's Department is going to be fully operational, and we're going to continue that way.
Before we end this press conference, I just want to point out one thing that I neglected to mention before. We have a duty, this council has a duty to our employees to keep them safe. In that connection, we are asking you, Mr. Brown said it, but I'm going to reiterate it. We are asking you not to come to the county offices unless it is necessary. When you arrive at the county office, you may well find that you are limited to the number of people who can walk through the door at any one time, because we are obligated to protect the workers who are in this building who cannot telework. So if you have no other means of handling county business and you arrive, please be patient, because you may find yourself waiting at the one entry door that is now the only entrance to Richland County, and you may find that there is a little bit more of a delay in getting in the building, but it's for your health and safety and that of our employees. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and that concludes the comments reference this press conference.
I know other counties out there have fees for people to pay with a credit card, debit card. Does Richland County have those, like for water or for other services? And if so, will they be suspended or?
So very good question. One of the things that has come up in many of our conversations is just that. So the answer is yes, there are credit card fees associated with some of these online services. And one of the things we are doing as a part of this process is seeing how we can mitigate those fees, if that is something that we can do.
I know Kershaw yesterday announced they were waiving them. They were doing away with them. So is that a possibility?
Yes, that is a possibility, and as I mentioned, that is something that we're looking into. And if that is something that can be done, we'll bring it to the chair and members of council for that to be considered.
Has it
Thank
come
you.
up yet? That even up in North Carolina, they've shut down all restaurants and that kind of thing. Has the hospitality idea of shutting down places that would make people want to congregate, has that come up yet? You or Madam Vice Chair can speak, or whoever wants to talk.
Well, I certainly can't speak for the hospitality industry, but I'm not aware of them making that decision at this particular point.
Well, more, I'm just saying, has the county said like, hey, we have to shut you down because we don't want people to be there, like they've done in other states?
No, the county have not said that. Now, keep in mind, what's significant about this declaration is it affords the county the opportunity to do those kind of things that we do not have the ability to do now. But no, we have not had that discussion now. Now, as a result of the declaration, we're going to have a whole lot of discussion about a whole lot of things that we can get done as a council.
So then does this declaration give you guys those kind of extraordinary powers if you need them? Is
Yes,
that
it
what
gives
this
us more
is doing?
powers to do those things.
So what would the average person really need to know from this? What would the average Richland County citizen need to know? Is it just that the county can do these things and you guys would, like you're saying,
Regarding the
do these
declaration,
things?
what's significant about this is it affords the county the opportunity to do things without having to go through a whole lot of red tape. As I mentioned, right now, to make some decisions, we've got to have 3 readings and a public hearing. Instead of having to do that, we will not have to do that with this declaration. Right now, to purchase items, we'd have to go through, again, those readings to do so. This allows us the opportunity to just streamline things and get things done.
And Madam Vice Chair, you were saying that folks could still be able to use the parks. What do they need to know? I mean, because
So the parks are closed.
well, yes, ma'am.
But if you are, experiencing cabin fever, and you're in need of fresh air and a bit of exercise, the parks are closed in terms of use of the buildings. But we have beautiful parks. And guess what? They're all outdoors. And so, for the most part, we're not having any gatherings at these parks. And if you drive there and there's no one there but you, or there are only 2 other cars, get out and take a walk. And take your kids and let them run for a long time and then go back home and go to sleep. We're encouraging people to recreate, but not in groups. We are not encouraging anyone to have a group outing or a group event, but we are reminding people that these are your parks. You own them, and they're beautiful. If you are in need of recreation, drive your car to the park, get out, take a walk, get back in your car, and go home.
I'm just more wondering, just because we've heard social distancing so much, and telling people stay home if you don't need to go out. Is this?
This is not different, but most of our parks are community parks. They're close to people's homes, right? And they're in their local communities. What I'm suggesting is if at 6 a.m. when there's usually nobody at the park and you want to go for a walk at the park, the buildings aren't open, but we haven't moved one tree. They're all still there. Go and get some fresh air and take a walk. There won't be a lot of people hoarding at the parks. And if you see a group, go away, go back home. Do not stay at a park. But we're suggesting that there are ways to recreate and enjoy what are your facilities during this very stressful time without adding stress to your life or infringing on other people, go at a time when there's nobody else there. Take a walk, get some fresh air, and go back home.
Mr. Brown, speaking about Alvin S. Glenn, would you mind talking a little bit more about how you guys are ensuring? I know you said you're screening people who are coming in. Has there been any kind of testing for the inmates who are there? Has anybody been showing symptoms?
So I'm not aware of anyone showing systems, and other than the process that I just communicated to you, that is my understanding of the process currently in place at Alvin S. Glenn. So at this time, that information would be the whole of the information related to that process.
Is there any consideration giving to releasing, say, elderly inmates who might be more at risk for the virus?
Those questions sound like questions that would be better handled by the judicial system, as they are the ones who make those decisions as to who is found to need to be in there. So I don't believe that it's appropriate for me to make a comment related to that. That will be something I think you should speak with the court system about.
And Sheriff, you mentioned that you guys are fully operational. Does that mean you're still going to be taking any extra precautions for folks who might be coming into the Sheriff's Department?
No, we already have sanitation there, and we're making sure that our deputies are protected. So, but, you know, we want citizens to know that we're there for them, that the Sheriff's Department does not put a closed sign on the front door, that we're open for business and we're going to be out here protecting citizens.
You mentioned scams targeting the elderly. What have you seen as far as that's gone on?
Phone calls, threaten them, send us money, you're exposed to the virus, or you're going to be exposed, so you got to send us money. We all know that that's going to happen, that we know that people are going to try to take advantage of this situation, and we have to stop it. And to do that, we got to make sure that our seniors are taken care of. Our Project Hope program is out visiting them. Our school resource officers are visiting them. We're talking to them on the phone. We're making sure that they understand that, you know, if they get these phone calls, just hang up on them. Just hang up or call us.
God forbid, but let's say there's an outbreak at the department. You know, worst case scenario, can deputies work from home, or would they still have to come to the office, pick up a car, this, that, and the other?
If you're at home, you're not doing any good.
Well, no, I mean, can they, like, take the car home, not show up at the office, go out and do their duty?
No, they already take the cars home. I mean, we're prepared. I have over 800 deputies, so they're not all going to be out at the same time. They're all not going to be exposed. So we've worked out a plan where we've got people that are going to be out all the time. So we're going to make sure the county's protected.
And you talked to Chief Holbrook about, say, one department has, you know, has an outbreak there that you guys can step in?
We talk daily about different issues. So we're going to coordinate our efforts, and if there's something that happens that we need to address together, then we'll do that. We work very closely together with the City of Columbia.
I just wanted to make one statement. We want you to realize that the county is not working in isolation, and we will continue to work with the federal governor, federal guidelines as well as state guidelines. So we are not working in isolation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.